Hello everyone, my name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I hope every single one of you is doing well. Today we are here to talk about the romance releases that I'm most excited about that are coming out in the third quarter of the year, so essentially July, August, and September. I know we're already some way through July, however, if you haven't heard of those books, I thought it would still be useful to include them in this video. If you're interested in a more all-encompassing romance video, I have one for you guys in the description, which I did at the beginning of the year, talking about the romance releases that were coming out mostly in the first half of 2021, with a few exceptions that are already new that were going to be published a little bit later. As I mentioned, this is for the third quarter of the year. I will be making another one of those videos for the fourth quarter. I also wanted to mention that this is mostly for traditionally published romances. I will be making separate videos for indie published romances because they work a little bit differently, and the number of them that I am interested in is a lot more significant. So without more chatter on my part, let's get into it. We will go in order of release date, and let's hop on in. On July 1st, we have the Mixtape by Britney Sea Cherry. This is a story about two souls that intertwine. This is also pitched as a rock star romance where we have one of our main characters who is a single mother who is struggling, and we also have this boy main character, I do not know if this is dual perspective or not, who is grieving the death of his twin. I believe he is also famous, and in some way or another their fates will intertwine, and I guess a love story mixed in with grief and hardships will be given to us in the form of this book, so very interested in that one. On July 6th, we have Out of Character by Annabeth Albert. She is the author of another published book which is called Conventionally Yours. This one is about, I believe, two men, and they are going to work on this charity event for kids together. That's kind of what it's thrown / pitched as, and I am very interested to see. I know this will deal with fandom and kind of like being part of a community that is deemed to be kind of nerdy, and it will touch on like a charity for children, so I think there will be a lot of different harder or different topic explored, and also a love story at the same time. I also believe that that story includes kind of friends that have issues together that come together, so it's kind of like a friends to lovers with kind of complications, I believe is what I'm getting from the synopses. On July 6th, we also have Too Good to Be True by Melanie Johnson. This one follows a main protagonist whose job is on the line and she's looking for her next pitch. I believe she's a journalist, or she writes in a paper of some sort or a magazine, and she stumbles on this resort that specializes in kind of faking meet cutes, I guess, and the story goes from there. I did not want to spoil myself because this is one of the books that I'm really interested in, and I thought that the concept was very interesting. I feel like we're seeing more and more books with meet cutes included in them, so definitely one that is up my alley. On July 13th, we have another book coming out called How Sweet Is It by Dylan Newton. This one sounds absolutely adorable. If I was a main character who was used to planning these adorable, very fairy tale-esque wedding, however, one of her friends asked her if she can actually create an event towards a launch of a horror novel, and obviously that's kind of out of her comfort zone, but she will take it on because, you know, a service to a friend, and I believe she might fall in love with the horror writer author, and it also kind of has some beach read feels by Emily Henry. Very interested in that one. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, and you know, it's on my radar. On the same day, we also have It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, which I don't know much about other than the fact that it is kind of like Schitt's Creek. That's what it's pushed as by the publishers. This one follows kind of like a Hollywood rich girl who goes to this island and I think has some kind of relationship with a local. I don't know why she's there. I don't know why it's pitched as something similar to Schitt's Creek, but I've heard excellent reviews from the early reviewers for this one, and I'm very excited to get my copy of my own. This is one I have already pre-ordered. And the last for this date is While We Were Dating by Jasmine Guillory. This, I, again, don't know too much about, because Jasmine Guillory's books are auto-buy for me. I love her as an author. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I just kind of don't care anymore. If I know she's publishing a book, I will be reading it. I think I'm going to enjoy this. If you want more about it, there's a bunch of information on Goodreads, and it made so many different romance lists, so all the information is available to you guys. On July 20th, for those of you who are fans of the Bromance Book Club series, we have the 4th book, Isn't It Romantic? That series is by Lisa K. Adams. They are a bunch of companion novels. This is the 4th one, and it is releasing on July 20th. As I said, I am not caught up with the series, so I wouldn't even know like who the characters are for you guys, for me to like describe to you. But all I know is it's coming out, and a lot of people are very excited for this one. Then on July 27th, we have Heartbreak For Hire. This one sounds absolutely amazing. It follows a main character who works at this job where they are kind of made to take men down a notch, where they will break their heart or they'll do something to kind of like reduce the ego, and she has no problem doing that job until one of the targets of one of her previous, you know, assignments becomes the first male to work at the office. I think it will be their romance, but obviously there's going to be a lot of complications with the work they do, and also the fact that she can probably not be trusted because she intentionally, you know, targeted him in a negative way. On the same day, we have Love Next Door by Helena Hunting, who is one of my favorite authors, and this one follows a main character named Dylan, who goes back to her hometown, I believe, to work on a family business, and ends up falling in love with a man who lives in the cottage next door. I love Helena Hunting. I had heard nothing about this book before my research, and I thought it would be interesting. It sounds a little bit more adult, a little bit less angsty and drama-like, and more kind of a sweet love story, so if that's something you're looking for, maybe this one's for you. And the last book for this date in July 27th, is The Man Ban, which looks absolutely phenomenal. This follows a main character who is actually a food stylist, and she's been spending the last year focusing on herself. I believe she went through a rough end to a relationship, and so she decides she wants to spend time with herself and her career, and she kind of makes a man ban rule for herself. That is until she falls in love with a man who I believe is a doctor, but you know, the relationship starts as a hookup, and so she's like, it's not breaking my rule until more feelings develop. The cover for this one is absolutely adorable, and I haven't heard a lot of talk about this one, so again, one to keep on your radar. And on July 30th, we have One Night Only. This one follows a main character who has kind of a one-night flame with this man, and that's supposed to just be it, like one night stands kind of are. However, it turns out she's the maid of honor and he's the groom's best man, and so they're going to see each other again. I don't know how they're gonna deal with it. I feel like this one might be a little bit awkward, a little bit dramatic and funny, and I cannot wait for more reviews to come out of this one so that I can make up my mind to whether or not it's worth the read. Moving on to August, we have The Dating Dare by J.C. Lee, which is a companion novel to The Sweetest Mess, I believe. This one follows a main character who doesn't want a serious relationship, but after a game of like beer pong or whatnot with her friends, she decides to agree to go on 4 dates with this man. However, this man is leaving for like in a month to go to Paris, and he's like, okay, fine, like it's gonna be fun, a distraction for both of us. But I think they end up falling in love, but then there'll be the issue of him leaving for Paris. I just think this looks fabulous. I think the theme of not wanting serious relationships is definitely one we're seeing a lot more in adult novels, clearly with this list, but they all sound just so fun. We also have on this same date, I believe, If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. My lord, I am so sorry, I cannot talk today. This one is the first adult romance by Disney, and it is kind of based on a Cinderella retelling. I think it will be the first of many, and this will follow a plus-size main character who kind of acts as a Cinderella in this novel, and then events will unfold. I cannot wait. It sounds absolutely amazing. On August 10th, we have Wait For It, which follows a woman who picks up her life, needs a change, and moves to Arizona. She rents a property and meets the owner of this property, who is kind of mysterious and teaches her a lot of things along the way. I think this will be both kind of like a coming of age and a romance between the woman who was renting and the property owner. Also, the cover for this one, absolutely adorable. On August 17th, we have Battle Royale by Lucy Parker. This one follows two main characters who were both in the baking world, and they will both be attending this contest to, I believe, serve for a royal wedding or something of the sorts, and they kind of already don't like each other, so it's kind of like an enemies to lovers baking romance. I've heard a lot of hype for this one on Twitter. I know a lot of people who I follow who love romances are very excited for this one. I absolutely love the cover, and I think it's going to be a very interesting and swoony read. I believe on August 17th as well, we have The Dating Playbook by Farrah Bashal, which this one follows a personal trainer who agrees to fake date one of her clients, and all of the rules end up going out of the window. I don't know much more to this, like what this book is about than that, and I think it's a great synopsis. I love fake dating, and again, the covers for all of these adorable. On August 31st, we have The Royals Next Door, which this is definitely one of my most anticipated romances. It follows a main character who is living her life until the royal family moves into a house beside her, and they have this bodyguard, and there's gonna be something between her and the bodyguard, and I am living for it. The cover, adorable. Everybody hyping it up so incredibly much. Very excited. If you like bodyguard romances or anything with kind of like a royal feel to it, this is definitely one to keep a lookout. And I feel like one of the most anticipated books in the romance community is also coming out on August 31st. Yes, and that is The Heart Principle. This is the third book in a kind of companion series, which I have not read the first two of. I am very ashamed to say. I have like the Kiss Quotient and another one plus The Heart Principle. It has been pushed back, I believe, and it is finally coming out at the end of August. I have no idea what this is about, but I think that if you loved the series and you like books with representation, I know I think both of the first books have autism representation, and so maybe the third one has also. I just hear everybody singing the praises of this author and these books, so if you want something that's kind of smutty but also has good rep in it, keep those books on your radar. In September, let's talk. So on September 7th, there is The Portrait of a Scotsman, which is the third book in the historical romance series. I don't know a lot about these. I have wanted to read the first book in this, and I know it's taken a lot of people by surprise, and it's pushed a lot of people to read more historical romances. So if it's a series you were interested in and are currently reading, the third book's coming out. If you didn't know, September 7th. Keep an eye out. My most anticipated book is also coming out on September 7th. That is The Shoddy Scam by Lily Vale, which I loved Lily Vale's first book. I think it's definitely underhyped, and this is her first foray into adult romance. This has to do with home renovations and just talks about different cultures and how different people do things. I have an arc, and I will be making a vlog for this book, so if you want more information and my thoughts on it, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss it. Also on September 7th is The Meeting Point, and this one sounds absolutely phenomenal. This is the story of a girl who finds out that her boyfriend is cheating on her because of a Lyft driver. Essentially what happens at the beginning of this book is that our main character phones her boyfriend, and the Lyft driver picks up, and he's like, oh, you must be that girl, who is definitely not her. And so she finds out that, you know, he's cheating, and I believe that her and the Lyft driver will spend time together and end up falling in love. I think this includes a lot of modern elements, and it makes for hopefully a very adorable love story. On September 14th, we have The Love Hypothesis, which is a fake dating story between two different scientists who have a lot of attraction. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. There's a lot of hype again for this one in the booktube community, also on book Twitter, Bookstagram. It's kind of everywhere, and I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a different spin on fake dating, and very excited for this one. Again, with the cute covers, we're all about it. With You Forever is also coming out on September 14th. This is the 4th book in the Brigham Brothers series. I have the first 3 on Kindle. They were recently very much on sale for like $1 each, and so I picked those up. I don't know much about the series, but I know it does include a lot of representation for several different things, and that the booktube romance people on this platform, wow, I can't talk, everybody seems to be loving it and giving it extremely high ratings. So if you're looking forward to more romances with representation in it, I highly recommend checking out this author and maybe her 4th book. And to end off September and the last 3 books in this video, let's talk about September 21st. We also have When Sparks Fly by Helena Hunting. This one follows a main character named Avery who runs this kind of hotel slash event house that was her parents' before, and she has successfully made it a very known destination. However, our main character ends up in a pretty severe car accident, and so she cannot do a lot of things herself for several weeks, which is where her best friend comes in. Both of them had a pretty intense attraction to each other. However, she ended up dating one of his friends, and so that attraction was put on pause, but now they're spending time together, and you know, romance will probably ensue. We also have The Legacy by Al Kennedy, which is book 4.5 in the Off-Campus series, which is kind of like recounting where the characters we know and love are now. It's kind of like 4 different short novellas. If it's something you want to read, or if you have like some pair of characters in that series that you really love, it could definitely be for you. And the last one on my list is by one of my new favorite authors, and that is Stacey Hart, and that book is called For Love or Honey, and there's no actual cover yet, but this is about a bee farmer and the man who convinces her to break every rule, and that sounds absolutely swoony. So those are all the books I have for you guys. Obviously there are so many more romances that will be coming out, but those are the ones on my radar. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon in a new video. Let me know in the comments what books I missed that should have made my list. Bye guys, happy reading!